right now, former President Donald Trump is in the courtroom where he is being processed right now at New York criminal court, and he will be arraigned on more than 30 business fraud related charges. And today, 5 still photographers will be the only people allowed to take images of the former president in the Manhattan courtroom. Right now, Ali Silvert is joining us to talk about this unprecedented day, really, with what's going on in New York. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And the big conversation topic has been around how unprecedented this is, but we still kind of have an idea of what's going to be happening today. Can you walk us through that?
Sure. I mean, although he is the former president, and that is what it's unprecedented, in terms of the court proceedings, this happens all the time, every day around the country. He'll be brought in, he'll be given a copy of the charges against him. He will already have read them with his lawyer. He'll waive formal reading, enter a plea of not guilty. Then the court will tell him his rights, that he has the right to remain silent and only speak with the presence of his attorney, so he doesn't say anything on the record. And then they'll set conditions of release. No bail is required in New York City for these charges, so he'll be released on some minor conditions, and then a trial date will be set, and we will move on.
And what will Trump's defense be for this? I know you're kind of giving me some comparison similarities with some local cases happening right now.
Since we don't know exactly the nature of the charges, it's hard to say what the defense will be. But given that it's a fraud indictment, the obvious defense is going to be either that he was simply following the instructions of his attorney, so therefore he didn't do anything wrong, or he actually didn't know anything, and therefore, while other people may have done some things wrong, like Mr. Cohen, for example, Mr. Trump himself didn't have the knowledge to do anything wrong.
And of course, we'll be learning what these charges are. 8:15 Hawaii time is that expected time for when those will be released to the public. But what are the political ramifications for Trump with this? So we all know he's still running for president in 2024.
Well, his base will see it as just a politically charged indictment, and the rest of the country might see it as somebody who may have committed a crime. The country's going to be split, but I think as we learn more about the charges and what the foundation of those charges are, opinions might shift.
And could we see a gag order for this case?
It's possible. I don't think we'll see it immediately because there's a First Amendment right for Mr. Trump to speak. I think the court's going to be very conservative, but if Mr. Trump pushes the limit of his conditions and keeps attacking the judge and keeps attacking the prosecutor, then he might be brought back into court, and then the judge might be on firmer basis to say, wait a second, Mr. Trump, you can't say these things.
And of course, the big thing today will be that the public will get to see what the charges actually are. But other than that, really today, just kind of setting things in motion for what we can expect for the rest of this year and maybe longer than that.
That's correct. All we as the public are going to see are is the indictment and the language of the indictment. It's supposed to be a speaking indictment, which means it's going to give us a lot of information. But in terms of the underlying evidence and the witnesses, we're not going to see or hear any of that until the trial. There'll be a lot of speculation, but we're not going to see that. That's all done behind closed doors. So this is really what we're going to see is this indictment.
And let's talk about other Trump investigations that, of course, are going to be potentially playing out as well.
Right. So we still have the Georgia grand jury investigation, which has concluded, and now it's just a question, are they really going to bring charges? Then we have the Department of Justice investigation in 2 fronts, and whether they're going to bring charges. I suspect by the end of the summer, those charges will be brought, or we'll know that they're not being brought. But one way or another, I believe now that the glass ceiling has been broken and a former president of the United States has been indicted, I think things are going to move along.
Well, thank you so much for joining us once again this morning, Ali. We appreciate you being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we will have continuing coverage of the indictment on air, online, and across all social media. For KITV4 Island News, you can, of course, follow all of that. Again, things are supposed to get underway in about less than an hour, 8:15 Hawaii time.